Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Well, here's the first video of the new year, and Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you all had a great new year and that the next year coming 2020 will be very prosperous and healthy for everyone. I'm going to start out today with finishing up the wreath that we made on Tuesday for the front door, this little winter wreath, a very simple one, and I'm going to put a very simple sign on the bottom of it. But the sign is going to be made in Cricut Design Space. And I'm going to have to work on my Cricut Design Space tutorials because I'm not getting the best picture that I could with locating how my camera is focusing on the screen. But I will work on it. And I hope you noticed at the very beginning of this video, I labeled it Donna's Dreamworks Paper Dreamer 1. I'm thinking I may change the name of my channel shortly. And if I do, it will be changed to Donna's Dreamworks, which is more appropriate only because I don't focus on paper crafts as I did when I first started my channel several years ago. I do paper crafts and I will do some paper crafts, but I don't focus on them as the only kind of crafts I do. So I have a blog that is pretty well defunct right at the moment, and the name of the blog was Donna's Dreamworks. So I'm going to probably phase into Donna's Dreamworks for a while. You'll see both of them listed, and then eventually it will just stay Donna's Dreamworks. I don't know really how to do this. I think I'm just going to ask YouTube how to do it, and I hope I don't lose everybody I already have as a follower. I don't think so. I don't think I lose any videos or any followers, but at any rate, if you're here for the first time, hit the subscribe button and the bell, and you'll be notified every time I come out to play. And that is right now 3 times a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays I do craft videos of some sort, and on Sunday I'm in the kitchen, and we're going to start a new series this coming Sunday, and the January series is going to be called Simple Suppers, and so I hope you'll come and enjoy that one too. But right now let's get busy on making a sign. Now the very first part of the sign making was done yesterday, and it was my staining the piece of wood, and so I haven't made any comments or anything during that, and so you'll see that, and then we'll get busy with the Cricut to make the welcome sign for the winter wreath. So I'll be back in just a minute down in the craft room. See you in a bit. Okay, here we are in design space, and I'm going to show you how you make one of these signs with the vinyl. I'm going to use red vinyl today for the words because I checked my stash of vinyl and I didn't have any gold and I didn't have any white. So I'm going to use red. There's some red berries in the picks that I have on the wreath, so I think it'll be just fine. And so let's just start by adding a shape. And I'm going to add a square. But I'm not really going to add a square. I'm going to add a rectangle. They don't have a rectangle, so you make a rectangle by unlocking the lock, which will allow me to change the size of the width and the height independently. Up at the top here, it says height is 3.111. I'm just going to make that plain 3. And then the width, I'm going to make 10. So I'm just going to put in 10. Whoops. That wasn't right. Let's try that again. 10. There you go. And so now I have 3 by 10. And 3 by 10 is basically, and I'm going to make this white just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Basically the size of the sign that I will have to fill. And so that's why I put it on here, so I know how big to make my word welcome. So now I'm going to go over here to this T, which is text. And I'm going to write the word welcome. And it happens to be in the font that I want to use, which is a B-A-Y, let me see here. It's up at the top, Bayamo or something right there. It's right here. And, but this is the one I'm going to use. So I'm going to take this box and I'm going to move it up on, whoops, I'm going to move it up on top of the sign. What I'll do is I'll start over here in the corner, take this little arrow and drag it down and make it as big as I want it to be to fit inside this box. But I don't like these letters all spread out like this. So I'm going to go up at the top where it says letter space, and I'm going to hit the down arrow until they keep moving close that I like. Well, that's pretty good. So I'm going to change the size again. But I have to watch out for the L because the L is tall. And I think that will be just fine right there. So that's how you make the sign. Now when I go to, let's just make this red because that's what I'm going to cut it. Okay. When I go to make it, I'm not going to cut out this rectangle. That was just put on here for me to use as a guide. All I'm going to do is cut out the welcome. And I'm going to add a little design of some sort. Clear my notifications off the screen. Let's see, how about like a snowflake? Now if you have an A on these, you see all these have an A, that means Cricut access. That means that I can use these without it costing me anything. If I come down to this one here, you see that says $1.99. I'd have to pay to use that particular design. But most of these have the A, and very few need to be bought. I'm going to use this one. And it's going to be red, but we'll have a red snowflake. I'm going to make it, no, first I'm going to change the size to the size I want to fit on here. and I'm going to copy it. I click, right click, click copy, right click, click paste. Now I have two of them, and I'm going to put one down here. So I'm going to move this over a little bit. Now I'm going to make that red, and I'll make this red. There, I think that's going to look really pretty. So the next thing I do is I come down here, or up to the top right, I'm sorry, up at the top right, I'm going to write make it. Now if you look, it's telling me to cut this mat, and I don't want to cut the mat. So I'm going to eliminate that one. I'm just going to the second mat, and that's where I'm going to cut the welcome. I could have got rid of that square before. Let me just show you. We'll cancel, go back to the screen. I'll take this and get rid of the square. Now, you don't have to even worry about that mat. Okay, now you click make it, and it just has that one. And you can see on this mat that the vinyl goes just a little bit past the 10, and it goes to about the 3. And you really don't want to put a lot more vinyl on there than you need. It just makes it difficult when you're trying to weed your project. So now I'm going to press continue, and it's looking for my device up here. And it found it, okay? And it says right now my material is set to cardstock, so I have to change that on my dial, and I will take you over there and show that to you before we go any further, and we'll see what we're going to do for printing. So hold on, and I'll move you over by the Cricut. Okay, you can see a flashing light perhaps right here. It's telling me to load my product. But here's the dial, and there's all kinds of things. Paper, vinyl, iron-on, cardstock, fabric. So and there's a little dot here. I'm going to turn it around until it reaches the word vinyl. And I have loaded my mat with the red vinyl. Oops, sorry, hit it. Now I'm going to load it onto the machine. And once I did that, now it's going to tell me to cut. So I'm just going to press cut. Whoop, I hit you again, I'm sorry. And I think first it's going to cut out the snowflakes. And I'll let this go for a little bit once it starts doing the words. And then I will bring you back after it's finished. My vinyl is not sticking over here very well. Not sure how it's going to do with that intricate little snowflake, but we'll see. You notice the machine has my initials up here, monogram. I'm going to show you how to make that one of these days. And you can make it like I put it on my machine, but you can do it on an iron-on and make some pretty monogrammed, like hand towels to hang in your powder room. Okay, now we're going to work on the word. You notice I have the vinyl up. And this is a fairly quiet machine, so it won't disturb the world while you're trying to use it. And the funny thing is it has done all the letters except the L. Now it's going to do the L last. It's like it left a hole in the middle and it's going to go back and fill it up with the L. It's all done. And now it's, oops, it wasn't all done. Yes, now it is. And it just tells me to take it out. And you really can't see it. I can see it in the light. But we'll take you back over and show you what the next step is. Okay, I'm going to weed my project. So what I'm going to start by doing is getting the extra vinyl off. And I'm just going to pick up a corner here. And she says, with these fake nails, there we go. And you want to keep this vinyl away from what you're already taking it out of. And look at those snowflakes, aren't they? They came out really good. So there you have welcome upside down to you. See if I can get it up there. Can't quite get you in the picture that way. But anyway, okay. So I haven't got too much weeding to do with this one. There's a little bit in the middle of this E. And I'm just going to take that piece out. A little bit in the middle of this L. And you really need to have like something to stick them on off to the side. Because they are very sticky. And this E, and as soon as I can get that off my finger, there we go. And really, that's all of the weeding that needs to be done. The snowflakes are just fine. Let's see them over here. So the next step is to take transfer paper. Now I'm using a regular clear contact paper. And we're going to cut a piece that will fit over this. So I'm going to just measure it with the mat, cut it about here. And again, don't mess yourself up by trying to cut great big pieces and work with them. It's hard to work with. I have this little piece right here. Now I'm going to get the edge off. Okay, that one was a challenge, but now I've got it. And we're just going to peel the backing off. And what I like to do is to try to put this down at the same time I'm peeling the backing, because then I'm not trying to put down this whole piece all at once. And I'm putting the sticky side down onto my letters. Now I'm going to take this off of my mat. I don't need this on the mat anymore. I'll get rid of that. So now I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to burnish each one of these to make sure that it's really stuck to this transfer paper. And you can kind of see the color changes as it gets stuck to the transfer paper. And if there's any air bubbles in here, you can push them off at this time by pushing from the middle to the outside. Credit card works well for this. It's a flat surface. Now obviously the snowflakes didn't come in the two different areas. I could have moved them, but it's not a big deal. I'll show you that it's easy enough. And what I'm going to do is just, while this is all attached, is just cut these snowflakes out. Okay. Now I'm going to cut these in half. There's not a lot of space between them, but there's enough. And we'll burnish each one of these. Okay, now the next thing to do, I'll put these away, is to put it on the sign. Be right back with the sign. Okay, I'm back with the sign. So the next thing I want to do is to pick up this transfer tape, and hopefully my letters will be attached. And if they're not, then you just go back and burnish them a little more. Sometimes the very edges need a little help. And that one doesn't, little help here. There we go. Okay, so now I have this sign. I think I like this side. And I'm just going to position it where I want it on the sign. Remembering my L is tall. And I want to leave room for a snowflake. And I'm just going to push it on. And we're going to go back and burnish it again. Now we're burnishing it so it will come off the transfer tape and on to the wood. And you kind of want to rock it when you take this off. And this is a little bit tricky. Okay, I'm in the midst of removing this vinyl, and it's having difficulty sticking to this wood. I think it's the stain, but it's not a problem because I can stick it down after I've got it off this vinyl. Now see there's a little bubble in that. I'm just going to pick that up and straighten it down. There you go. And one last letter. There you go. And it's all stuck now. And I can always just take and run it on any place that wants to come loose. Now let's see if we can get these little snowflakes to come off. These will be a challenge. We'll put one right here. I'm recording. So there you go. Came out very good. Snowflakes were a pain in the neck. They're so little, the pieces are so little, but they came off. So I'm going to put this on the sign, and I'll give you a picture and some closing words once I've got it attached to the wreath. I'm sorry, I'm going to put it on the wreath. It is a sign. So I'll be back in just a few. Hold on. There you go. That looks perfect on the front door. And the welcome sign shows up nicely. So that'll be just great for a nice little interim wreath until we put out our spring and Valentine's. All right, I'll see you back upstairs. So how'd we do? I think it came out pretty good. I would have preferred, I think, to use either a white or yellow, probably white. But I think for what I'm going to use it for and for the trial and error, you can use whatever color you have. And I have now know I have to pick up some additional supplies of vinyl, so we can do some more vinyl projects. That sign, the wood in that sign, those are those little packages that you can get, I think 3 in a package, and it's very, very thin. So this isn't something you'd want to put on a wreath you're selling, but it's just good enough that it says what I wanted it to say and fills up the slot at the bottom of the wreath. So I think it came out just fine. So that's all I have for today. I hope you stop back on Sunday and see the first of the simple suppers and enjoy that. And then next Tuesday we'll be back with a new project, and I'm thinking it's going to be something for Valentine's Day. And I have a little challenge up my sleeve for myself, really, and that is to take a wreath that I have already and utilize it for almost the entire year, for every season. So I'm going to share that with you, the beginning of it, next Tuesday when we work on our Valentine's project. So until then, have a great afternoon, and everybody play nice now. Bye-bye.